Hi, my name is Mary Elaine Petrucci. I'm the host of the Caregiver Cast, and my special guest today is Katie Munoz, who will be talking to us about humor in caregiving. Before I formally introduce Katie, I am just going to give you some background information about her. Katie Munoz is known as a funny person now, but she wasn't born that way. She was born quiet, serious, and clumsy, which left her in a state of endless embarrassment. As a young adult, she finally figured out how to use humor as self-defense. So, for example, if you laugh at yourself first, nobody else can laugh at you. She is living proof that humor can be learned even by a person who is naturally serious. In Toastmasters, she expanded her speaking skills and entered her first humorous speech contest in 1996 with a speech titled Out of the Closet, where she came out of the closet as a math nerd. That speech carried her all the way to the regional competition in Eugene, Oregon. People have been gifting her with slide rules ever since. The next year, she began teaching how of humor workshops at conferences and conventions while making ample use of her humor and public speaking skills as a program manager in the software industry. Now she has retired from software and is on a full-time mission to share the skills of public speaking and positive humor through her company, Serious to Hilarious. She offers workshops, webinars, and coaching. Welcome, Katie, to Caregiver Cast. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. I'm glad to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Most definitely. I know this is caregiving. It can be really serious.
Yeah, it certainly can.
I've done it myself with both my parents. So you do seem naturally funny. So can you explain how humor would help somebody who's caregiving kind of alleviate some of the stress and overwhelm that they are experiencing?
Yeah, I'd be glad to. I actually used to have a business helping seniors myself, helping people relocate and downsize. Humor was an invaluable tool for me because, like caregivers, I was dealing with people in very similar circumstances. And it's hard. The person you're helping is stressed out. You're stressed out. Everybody's tired. Humor just makes it work so much easier. One of the things that I like to do was to, well, make jokes about what we were doing already. I thought of some before we got on today, and I thought, as a caregiver, perhaps, not when I was helping people move, but as a caregiver, I might be bringing somebody their glass of Metamucil. And what you could do is present that and say, your cocktail, my dear.
Okay.
It just,
I like that.
It's little, it's subtle, but that's what makes it funny. You want the everyday, you want the ordinary, but humor is based on surprise. So you just go completely ordinary and then go a little bit sideways. And people go, what? Oh, yes, my cocktail. Thank you. Did you remember to put in extra tequila? But of course I did. And if you can get people to play back with you like that, that's fabulous. Then they can contribute and you can contribute. And it's almost like the imaginary games we all played when we were children. It's fun to pretend that you're a pirate or a princess or a whatever. it just makes life more interesting. I did think of some other little things that a caregiver might say. Would you like to hear them?
Sure, Katie, this is what we're here for, is to find out what makes something funny for a caregiver and the person receiving care.
So I thought if you're getting ready to give somebody a bath, you might say, "Hey, Betty, you want to make like a plant and get watered?"
Mm.
Or when you bring in the mail, "Ah, your fan mail is here. Look, Publishers Clearinghouse is still sending you something every month. You're going to have to send them your autograph sometime. They love you."
Mm-hmm.
These are all based on comparisons. So what we're thinking about here is, what could this be like? And obviously, if you're bringing something, if you're bringing a drink to somebody, it could be like serving a cocktail in a bar or a cocktail on a ritzy cruise ship. And bathing, I was thinking about watering plants in a greenhouse.
Mm-hmm.
And, fan mail, that's obvious. So what you do is think about the ordinary things you're doing and put an unexpected twist on it.
Mm.
And then just allow the other person to participate if they will. They might not, but hopefully they'll enjoy it enough to come back with something.
I would say so. So where you kind of answer this, so you just look at everyday routines to find something to be humorous about, correct?
Right. Those were all examples of using comparisons.
Mm-hmm.
But another thing that I found really useful, especially, some people are not willing to go with you into humor right away, especially when we were trying to move somebody who really didn't want to move. They're likely to be sitting there with their arms over their chest going, "Yeah, what do you want?"
Right.
So with those people, I might try some of these comparison ideas, but another thing you can do is think about what gives a person their identity, what builds their self-esteem.
Mm.
So if you know that Herb was really into fishing, and he doesn't want to sort stuff for the move, so you might kind of kick back and just start a conversation. "So Herb, I understand that the fish in the Columbia River are still afraid of you. You caught a whole lot of them down there, right?"
Mm-hmm.
Let him tell you something he's proud of.
Mm.
There is nothing more likely to cheer somebody up than to be able to remember something they really enjoy doing or they're really proud of.
Mm. Mm.
I was thinking about another situation where maybe somebody's super grumpy about, "I used to drive myself. Now I've got to depend on everybody else to drive." That sucks, right?
Right.
And how you deal with that? You don't go into humor right away. Let's talk about what you do first in a minute. But I was thinking, if you know this person kind of doesn't like to be driven, you might say, "Okay, Agnes, I need you to ride shotgun and protect the stagecoach from bandits, okay?"
Mm.
So that she gets to feel important and powerful.
Mm.
And maybe you've got another lady who just started using a wheelchair, a motorized wheelchair. And you could kid around out there and say, "Now, I don't want to be getting calls from the neighbors about you doing wheelies and donuts in their driveway, okay? You better not be setting a bad example for the teenagers in the neighborhood."
Mm.
So this is for somebody who's kind of a rabble rouser anyway, and just give them a chance to, feel that rebellious power again. Yeah, that's me. I'm the wheelie donut lady.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I like that though, taking them back to what they have been successful at and what they have achieved. I think that really makes it more comfortable for the person.
Yeah, it gives them something to think about besides just my knee hurts and I'm hungry and they won't let me eat anything for another hour. And, just there's irritations in life, no matter where you are. But when we're involved in projects and things and pretending, we don't tend to notice this little irritations. When we're bored is when they become big. So surprise is your friend, whatever you can do that's just mildly surprising.
I like that. So I've heard comedians say that humor is pain plus time. But how can you be funny when the pain and sadness isn't in the past? It's right here in the present.
That is a really good question and a really important question. And it's one I wanted to make sure that we covered here. If somebody is grumping about something, it can be kind of, it can backfire if you go straight into humor. Now, one of the things that people tend to do, and it's a huge mistake, but it's so common, in my last business, helping people move, it could be, I want to move to this stupid retirement community. I like my house. And the kids are likely to say, oh, Mom, don't worry, you're going to love the new place. And what that does is it disrespects what she's feeling right now. You can be sad and mad about leaving your current house and excited about maybe it'll be a new adventure. Right here, right now, you said, I'm upset. And they said, don't feel that way. Feel happy. Your feelings are bothering me. I want you to change. And the thing is, people don't have control of their feelings. Feelings happen to us. And we can express them or not express them, but they're still there. So here's this poor lady, and she's, sad or upset. And they're telling her, pretend to feel some other way, which is super stressful to try to pretend you're happy when you're not. And it's almost like you're saying, your feelings are bothering me. You need to change who you are for me to, want to interact with you. And so it's just feels very disrespectful. Now, on the daughter or the son's part, it's totally well-intentioned. They're trying to cheer him up, but you can't fix somebody's feelings. And it's so important to respect that you just can't. The most important thing you can do right at that point is to reflect what you heard. Yeah, gosh, I can see why you're sad about moving out of this house. You've lived here, gosh, you lived here since before I was born. What year did you and Dad move into this house? Let her talk. Let her be in her feelings. Respect those feelings. And when she's kind of running down on things she might go off on a wild tangent and have a great time telling you about the cool house. That's great. But she might kind of be, we've lived here 43 years and it was cool and now I got to leave. And
Mhm.
You want to be sure that they're done venting before you try anything funny.
Uh,
So maybe she needs to say something else. You know, it makes me mad that the doctor told me I'm not capable of living on my own. I've raised 3 kids and I've,
mhm.
who the heck is he? Really bad thing to do at that point is to say, well, the doctor has your best interests in mind.
Mind. Yes, that
Ow,
would not
ow.
work. Ooh, yes, I feel the pain now. Ooh. Oh, no.
There's one other big mistake that people make, and I just wanted to mention it. They could say, I know just how you feel.
Oh. Mm-mm.
And yes, like even if you've had almost the identical experience, every person's experience is unique. And when somebody is feeling it right here, right now, they want to be seen as unique as going through their own experience and to
Mhm.
say, it's just like, oh, ouch.
Yes, very much so.
So what I suggest is you listen to what they're griping about. I'm so sad.
Mhm.
And just reflect it back. Yeah, I can see why you're sad.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just darn frustrating. Yeah, I can see that too. What do you find most frustrating? All it is you're making sure they know that you're listening. You don't have to
Mm.
fix it. You just listen and use the very word they used. So
Mm.
like if they say, I am really furious at that doctor, you don't want to respond, well, I can see why you're mildly annoyed. Like, oh, whoops.
Yes, whoops is a big whoops.
So just look for the words and reflect back and let the person be there.
Mm.
And then when things kind of cool, that's when you can go into something new where, well, it's getting time to go to the doctor's appointment. How about if I can be your chauffeur and you sit in the back and ask the other cars for Grey Poupon? Would that be fun? So
Yes. So go ahead.
I was going to say, your goal is to make the event, whatever you guys are doing together, over the top, grand, fabulous. The Met
Mhm.
Gala, the going down the red carpet. Just find something extravagant to compare it to
Mm.
and see if they'll play along with you.
I think you're so right. You need to reflect back what they're feeling, say the words that they're using, and then have them do, and then go over the top with your humor. My question is how do you know when the person is through venting or that you might risk offending someone?
Well, the most important thing is to allow pauses. Don't
Mhm.
belt it out at somebody, right? You kind of, listen to what they're saying, reflect it back, see if they want to add something,
Mm.
and reflect that back. See if they want to add something else. And if they kind of just let it lie, then, you can kind of try a little bit of humor at that point. Now,
Okay.
not everybody is going to go with this. But what I found is if you're really gentle about it and you don't like pound somebody with it, after a day or two, and they get used to you,
Mhm.
then they might. It's, when the pain of something is fresh, it's hard to laugh at it.
Mhm.
So if somebody has just been told you're moving out of your house, you're not competent, that's pretty bad time,
Yeah.
you know? And you might be able to make a joke about the Metamucil, but you're sure as heck not going to be able to make a joke about moving at that point.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
There's nothing funny to them at all in that subject. So yeah, you got enough time, let enough time go till the topic settles. And then it becomes that's the way it is. It sucks, but yeah, you know, where they're over that immediate grief and trauma of this new whatever.
Thank you for sharing that. What happens if you do everything that you suggest and the person is still possible offended by what you're saying? How do you kind of repair that situation, Katie?
Hopefully they're not going to be offended. The thing that tends to be offensive is if you well, if you ridicule somebody. An awful lot of humor that we see on TV is putting somebody else down.
Right.
And my feeling is anytime you make yourself feel better by making somebody else feel worse, it's a very temporary state of feeling better. And it's just, I don't do it. I don't like that at all. I don't think it contributes to the well-being of people anywhere. Even the person who does that, say for instance, I used to have a problem with my weight. I was quite heavy and I didn't make fat jokes out loud, but in my mind, occasionally I did. And what I've realized after a while is that my rejection of my own self and putting somebody else down, well, she's bigger than I am, was almost keeping me trapped in that overweight body. It took a lot. It took a few years to figure this out, actually, but I finally realized that I needed to love and accept myself, love and accept other people, and whatever size body they inhabit. And then I could lose weight. If you're ridiculing somebody else, it does backfire on you. You won't see it right away, but subconsciously you're injuring yourself every time you do it. So I just don't think that's appropriate. Now, if somebody doesn't, you know, you say your cocktail, my dear, and they just, it's freaking Metamucil, what are you doing? They're not in the mood. And a few people are not going to be willing to play along with you. Most people will. And what I found when I was working with people is every time I met with somebody, because I usually had to meet with them for a period of days, even if they wouldn't go along with it for the first 2 or 3 days, sooner or later when we were together, I'd kind of float another little idea and see if they would go with it. And most of them eventually did. If they don't, well, stop. I mean, you know, humor works for most people, but it's not for everybody. People that are super insecure may feel threatened by it. It may disrupt their sense of stability in the world. You know, I have a theory about what makes something funny. Can I tell you about that?
Yes, please. I mean, I'm so curious. I think the examples that you've been using have been fabulous, but yes, Please enlighten us.
I believe sincerely that humor has one element in common, and that is surprise. Sudden, sharp, abrupt surprise. If you can see it coming, it won't be funny.
Right.
But if it catches you off guard, your brain does a little misstep. And when your brain does a little misstep, it finds it kind of entertaining. It's like, oh, that word has two meanings, doesn't it? So I think even if, I mean, you certainly don't want to pelt somebody with jokes if they're not going along with it, but every once in a while, you can test the water again and see. One thing I did want to mention is, since humor is surprise, if somebody's heard the joke before, they may not find it funny again. So if you're telling a story and the ending is super surprising, it's like, yeah, I've already heard that one. But if it's something where you've established a pattern with the person about bringing in their cocktail, so will you be having gin and tonic tonight, or will you be having a mimosa? If they're going to play along with you, you can keep expanding on that theme.
Thank you for that. You said that you learned humor, so because of your situation growing up.
Yeah.
I'm not making fun of that, Katie, so let's
no, please go ahead and make fun of it. At this
I'm
point,
not.
Yeah, I think it's hilarious now.
So can anybody use humor or learn to use humor? I mean, could there be people that just aren't funny?
I think there could be, but the people that just aren't funny are people, if you can find somebody else's humor funny, if you can laugh at something, then you understand humor enough to do it yourself. If you don't understand what makes something funny, I mean, we all have different brains, and some brains, maybe they don't go there. But it's, I'm naturally a fairly quiet, serious person. I used to be a software developer. Introverted and serious to you.
You have to.
So, and I think it was my insecurity that did not allow me to see the humor in my situation. What actually happened is I realized this in one particular moment. There was an epiphany one night. I don't know how much time we have.
No, please. Yes.
Okay.
We're fine. Just, I want to hear it.
So I was pretty awkward, pretty shy. I was working at a pizza parlor, and I was the delivery driver, and we weren't very busy yet that particular evening. And I went in the kitchen to hang out with the cooks. They're both funny guys in their back, spreading pepperoni and doing their thing. And as I come into the kitchen, I bang my shoulder into the door jamb and kind of stumble and and one of them looks up and he says, "So, how's finishing school coming, Grace?" And I thought for a minute and I said, "Huh?" I just totally didn't get it. And he says, "Grace, like graceful? Finishing school where you go to become graceful?" Oh. And the thing was, it dawned on me that they were teasing me and that they weren't putting me down. they liked me, they respected me, and they were teasing me. And maybe this combination wasn't so bad.
Mm.
And a couple of nights later, I tripped over a pizza box in front of the same two guys. And I tried something new. I said, so maybe I need to study a little harder in finishing school, huh? And they laughed. And it was like, oh my gosh, I can do this. All I have to do is step out and laugh at the situation. And then everybody in the room is laughing with me. If I stand there and act mortified, then people with a cruel streak won't laugh at me. But nobody can laugh at you if you make a joke about it first. That's
Right.
just life. I mean, situations happen. Haven't we all done dumb things? You know?
I
Especially
haven't,
in
Katie. I'm sorry.
never to you, huh? Well,
No,
oh,
I'm being facetious.
well, you know, I think maybe I've done twice enough for both of us.
No, I was quiet too, not so much with my family, but people I didn't know.
Mhm.
So I made a point of going up to people and at least introducing myself, but I have developed this really wicked sense of sarcastic humor.
Ah,
And it sometimes I say something and then I have to say, I didn't really mean it. I was just joking around.
yeah,
Know what I
sarcasm
mean?
is one of those risky things that can
Yeah.
work great or, it's,
Slaps you in the face.
yeah, yeah, I've been there, done that. I usually tend to avoid it unless I know somebody really well, because yeah, he can step in it big time.
Well, I sort of did that. I was taking this class and I was in a lot of pain, physical pain.
Physical pain.
Yes. So my left leg, my thigh, so I'm, sitting there in this class and I couldn't really sit still. So every now and then, I would throw out something sarcastic. And it was interesting at the very end when we were graduating from this course. One of the students said, I like Mary Elaine's sarcastic humor. And I'm like, first of all, let me just apologize for that because I was in pain, but it was nice to hear that they understood
Yeah.
that I was having pain and, I was just because I really didn't want to be in this class.
Yeah, so you got a compound situation there where you're in physical pain and you're someplace you didn't want to be. And yeah,
So
it's a perfect setup for humor. And the sarcasm works there because if you're making fun of a situation, it's not aimed at a person.
right.
If you get sarcastic about a particular individual or a class of some kind of individuals, that's when it can be hurtful.
Right.
But, when everybody's in a dire situation together, a sarcasm and even kind of dark humor about the situation can be a great bonding technique.
That's good. Go ahead.
I was going to say, when I was in software, I led a team for a while. We were trying to integrate software from 5 different companies. And one of them was late delivering the base stuff we needed, and everything was going wrong. And it wasn't our fault, but it looked like our fault. Behind the scenes, we made a lot of kind of sarcastic jokes about just, you know, um, just things going wrong. When we finally got something that we could deliver. It wasn't complete, but at least it showed that we, had been able to do something and progress was being made. Within the company. I took everybody to a celebration lunch and gave everybody a little trophy. And the trophy had a firefighter with the hose and the hat. And on a trophy, it said for heroic service 2001. And I saw people with those trophies for a couple of years. They still had them on their desk. And for each person, I kind of made up a story, this one guy, Vuitton, having thrashed his way through 18 international keyboards. And we were writing really low-level code, trying to make a keyboard work. You've got to write code. So like when it pushes down and you get that electrical signal, what do you do with it? Well, you print a U, or you print an S, or you print one of those characters I don't know the names of, but anyway, I just made up a little heroic story for each person. And I think it made it work. And in a way, we had a better time on that project, even though everything was going wrong. But under the pressure and trying to work together, it makes you closer.
I think you're right. You see, you're feeling so stressed and overwhelmed like a caregiver that you just have to release it in some way. So if it's sarcastic humor or saying something funny, anything to make the situation a little lighter than what it is. So thank you for sharing those stories. I like the fire hose. So is there really a formula to make somebody funny, or is it just something that you just test like you did with the pizza situation?
Right. I think there is. The amount of humor in something, here, we'll give it to you mathematically. The function of humor is the rate of change of the tension over the rate of change of the time. In other words, how fast you shift from one emotional state to another. So say you're having a no good, really bad day. Everything's going wrong. And you go into this store maybe expecting them to throw you out because, I don't know, you've just fallen in a mud puddle and you're messy and you're going, oh, I just want to buy something to drink. And instead somebody comes over and says, oh, you poor thing, here, let me get you some clean clothes. Let me give you something to hear. You want some lunch? Maybe they think you're a homeless person. They're going to take you out on the town. How fast can you shift from this sucks to, whoa, life is good, or the vice versa? The vice versa can be just as funny. I'm having a hard time thinking of an example right offhand. But maybe if you go in all arrogant about something and you expect to just dazzle everybody, and right in the middle of it, your wig falls off. It's like,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, I gotta go. Right? It's abrupt. It's that abruptness and the unexpectedness. Now, one of the things that people can do wrong is they can think of things that have been funny in the past, like the banana peel. I mean, we all know what a banana peel, if you see a banana peel in a cartoon, you know very well that somebody is going to step on it and slip at some point.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with the banana peel is we already all know that.
Mm-hmm.
There's no surprise left in it, so it isn't funny. It
Mm.
might have been funny in 1850, the first time that went out on the stage, but it isn't funny now. So you have to think of other unexpected things.
Mm.
And really, it's the small, small things in life where you lose your keys and it turns out the dog carried him off to his bed or something. Just random little things. They don't seem funny at first, but that's where funny stories start. It's just the
Mm.
unexpected.
Awesome. I like that idea of something that you haven't planned. And if it's a horrible situation, you could turn it around and make something funny out of it. I appreciate all this information. Are there 3 takeaways you could give caregivers about humor
Oh gosh, so let's see.
so they can practice in their
Yeah.
daily routine?
Remember to be kind. Don't ever make fun of somebody's actual pain or feelings, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want to always build on people's self-esteem. So that would be the first one.
Okay.
The second one is look for the unexpected, because that's where you're going to find humor.
Okay.
And the third is to just give it a try. You'd be surprised. All you have to do is surprise somebody. And it does not require you to be a funny person to do that. You just think about the surprise and deliver it. Don't give away that it's going to turn really fast. If you're having a super bad day, it's like, oh, this just really sucks, this and that. And then you know what happened? He came running out with the winning lottery ticket and said, ma'am, I think you dropped this, you know?
Right.
So just
Mm.
something that's, you want to mislead the emotions of your listener. That's what it's all about.
That is awesome. I love that. Respect the person, find the unexpected in every situation, and, just practice it. Try it out. I love it. I understand that you have a free offer for our listeners, Katie.
You bet. I wrote one especially for you because I care an awful lot about people who are taking care of other people. Hearts of gold, thank you. I hope I don't need your services, but I suspect that we all will at some point or another. So I have something called Humor Through Tough Times. And if you
Ooh.
look in the show notes, it will review a little bit about what we've talked about with some different examples. And hopefully you'll be able to follow that along and be able to make the humor that makes your life and the people around you happier, more entertaining.
Thank you so much, Katie. We all need to really find ways such as humor to get through the stress and overwhelm of caregiving. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me, and thank you for what you're doing for the community, because I know caregiving can be tough. So good luck to all you out there listening.
Thank you so much, Katie.